So for the past year and a half, I've been working on a Metroidvania project, and with a large-scale project like this, it's starting to seem to me like the more work I do, instead of the end getting closer and finishing the project, it almost seems like the end is getting further away and there's more and more work to be done.
This will be ready by tomorrow morning.
What do you mean tomorrow morning?
It's just windows and doors that are remaining. By
What?
tomorrow morning, everything will be done.
And while I have no problem working on this project, in fact, it's one of the most fun projects I've ever worked on, it can be a little discouraging at times seeing how much work there's still to do. And again, I have no problem with the work itself, but lately I've been kind of itching to just finish some project and just release a game and experience the whole solo game dev process from start to finish. One of the most common advice you come across while browsing the game dev section on YouTube is make small games.
And before you make your dream game, you gotta learn the basics. That's one of the major reasons we make small games.
How small games are going to be your salvation and the way that you're going to be able to keep game development sustainable.
But I feel like my eyes have been opened a little bit to the rationale behind the sage wisdom of elder game devs when they say you should just make a bunch of small projects and finish them.
And I do understand why people give this advice. Making small games means failing faster, quickly seeing what works and what doesn't, and getting to your successful project much sooner. And along the way, while making small games, you're gonna learn a lot more stuff than you would by just working on one main project. But focusing on one project is exactly what I've done for the past almost 2 years. And I don't regret working on this project because I'm really in love with it and I can't wait to see it done and published. But one feeling I kind of delayed for myself by working on one project is that feeling of finishing a product and releasing it out in the world. And throughout the development of my main project, I've had a couple of ideas for some smaller games. But aside from creating an empty Unity project and goofing around for a couple of days, I never really allowed myself to commit to a side project because I was always afraid I would wander off and never come back to my main one. It's well known at this point that if there's one ultimate bane of every solo game dev journey, it's project hopping. Starting a new project can be very satisfying and refreshing. The creativity flows, new ideas keep coming, and the gratification you get from going from a blank canvas to a playable prototype is something that you only really get in the beginning phases of a project. On the other hand, when working on a single game for a very long time, every change and update you make seems like a tiny part of a bigger picture. And it's common to feel like you're getting nowhere and making no progress despite the fact that you're putting in the same amount of work as you did in the beginning. This is why I think many people struggle with finishing a game and instead have a million unfinished dead projects. And this is exactly what I struggled with before starting my Metroidvania game. Something just wouldn't let me continue working on a project past the prototype phase, and I would completely abandon the project and begin working on a new one. And then when I started working on my Metroidvania game, I kinda made a promise to myself that I would keep working on it, despite how much I wanted to quit and begin working on a new project. And a couple of weeks ago, I did kind of break that promise because I started working on a new small-scale project. But the important thing is, I think, I didn't quit working on my Metroidvania. One day I randomly got this idea for a simple, smaller game that I thought would be very fun to make and hopefully just as fun to play. And after some time of thinking about all this stuff about making small games and project hopping, I decided to give myself a couple of months to take kind of a hybrid approach and try to make one of those small games that everybody's talking about. And then I can hopefully finally experience the whole solo game dev process from beginning a new project to releasing it. Now, I don't want to talk about the new project in this video, since I do plan on making a couple of devlogs explaining the process of making it. Instead, I wanted to just give the update for all of you who are following Cloverskar devlogs, since lately they have kind of slowed down. And that's partly because I'm mostly working on some smaller things that wouldn't be too interesting to make a devlog about, but also partly because of this new project that I'm kind of trying to focus and get out as soon as possible. So I guess my main point with making this video is to give my take on the whole small games, big games question that everybody's talking about. I think it is very important to learn to commit to an idea and a project and not wander around whenever a new idea comes. But I do think it's okay sometimes to kind of experiment and try out new things. Because it seems like a lot of people think that working on small games means they cannot commit to a single bigger project until they've released a certain number of finished products. But I think doing both is completely fine. Nobody's stopping you from working on your dream project, but experimenting with smaller ideas from time to time. So yeah, that's gonna be pretty much it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.